Ladies and gentlemen, most people wake up every day, go to work, do what they're told, and follow a path they never really question. They focus on what they need to do and how they're supposed to do it. They chase success, money, and status, believing that if they just work hard enough, they'll finally be happy. But here's the problem. Without a deeper reason, without a real purpose, none of it will ever feel like enough. That's why so many people feel stuck. They go through the motions, but something always seems to be missing. It's not because they aren't working hard, it's not because they aren't smart or talented, it's because they never took the time to ask the most important question: why? Why do you do what you do? Why do you wake up in the morning? Why do you push forward even when things get tough? The answer to that question changes everything. Think about the people who inspire you the most, the ones who have made the biggest impact on the world. Whether it's a great leader, an entrepreneur, an artist, or a teacher, the one thing they all have in common is a clear sense of purpose. They don't just do things for the sake of doing them. They don't just chase success. They stand for something bigger than themselves. They start with why. When you know your why, your work is no longer just a job. It becomes a mission. Your challenges are no longer just obstacles. They become opportunities to grow. Your success is no longer measured by money or titles. It's measured by the difference you make. The most successful companies, the strongest leaders, and the most fulfilled individuals all have one thing in common. They know their why, and they act on it every single day. But here's the truth. Finding your why isn't easy. It requires you to dig deep, to be honest with yourself, and to ask questions that most people avoid. It requires you to look beyond what's expected of you and listen to that voice inside you that's been there all along. What excites you? What makes you feel alive? What problem do you want to solve? What change do you want to create? Your why isn't about money or status. It's about meaning. It's about waking up every day with a sense of purpose. It's about knowing that what you do matters, not just to you, but to the people around you. And when you find it, something incredible happens. The way you work changes, the way you lead changes, the way you live changes. Because when you start with why, you don't just inspire yourself, you inspire others. People are drawn to those who believe in something bigger than themselves. They follow those who stand for something. They trust those who act with purpose. This is why great leaders don't manipulate, they inspire. Great businesses don't sell products, they sell beliefs. Great people don't chase success, they chase impact. And the best part, you don't have to be famous or powerful to do this. You don't have to be the CEO of a company or the leader of a movement. You just have to start right where you are with what you have. Because when you know your why, you don't need motivation, you have purpose. You don't need to force yourself to work hard, it comes naturally. You don't need to convince people to believe in you. They'll see it in everything you do. So don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for someone else to tell you what your why should be. It's already inside you. You just have to listen. Most people focus on what they do and how they do it, but true fulfillment comes from knowing why you do it. The most successful and impactful people, leaders, and companies operate with a clear sense of purpose, not just ambition. Money and status are temporary, but when you work with purpose, your efforts create lasting impact and fulfillment. Understanding your deeper motivation isn't easy, but asking the right questions about what excites you and what change you want to make leads to clarity. People are drawn to those who lead with purpose, and when you act on your why, you naturally influence and motivate those around you. Most people spend their lives focusing on what they need to do and how they're supposed to do it. They follow instructions, meet expectations, and chase external markers of success like promotions, paychecks, or recognition. But without a deeper reason behind their actions, even the greatest achievements can feel empty. Imagine waking up every morning, going through your daily routine and checking off tasks from your to-do list without ever questioning why any of it matters. This is the reality for many people. They work hard, but deep down, they feel stuck, uninspired, and unfulfilled. The reason is simple. They've spent their entire lives focusing on the process, but they've never truly understood their purpose. When people don't start with why, their work becomes just another obligation. They rely on discipline and motivation to push through, but eventually, those things fade. They may find short-term satisfaction in reaching a goal or hitting a milestone, but after a while, they're left wondering, is this all there is? That's because external rewards can never replace internal purpose. Now consider those who operate differently. The people who wake up excited about their day, not because of what they're doing, but because of why they're doing it. They aren't just going through the motions. They are driven by a purpose that fuels everything they do. These are the people who create, innovate, and inspire others. They don't just work hard, they work with intention. The difference between these two types of people isn't talent, intelligence, or resources, it's clarity. When you know your why, the what and how becomes secondary. Instead of just performing tasks, you begin to see the bigger picture. You understand that your work is part of something greater, and that understanding fuels your passion, energy, and commitment. Think about the most successful and influential individuals throughout history. They weren't just experts in their field, they were people who stood for something. They had a vision, a belief, a cause that gave meaning to their work. They didn't start by asking, what should I do? They started by asking, why does this matter? And when you have that kind of clarity, everything changes. Challenges become opportunities, setbacks become lessons, and success is no longer defined by external validation, but by the impact you make. You no longer need motivation to push forward because your why pulls you forward. This shift in mindset isn't just for world leaders or industry pioneers, it's for everyone. Whether you're a business owner, an artist, a teacher, or a student, understanding your why transforms the way you approach everything you do. It gives you direction when you feel lost, it gives you resilience when things get tough, and it gives you the confidence to take risks and pursue what truly matters to you. Most people spend their lives chasing success, but real success isn't about what you achieve, it's about why you're doing it in the first place. When you start with why, you stop working for a paycheck and start working for a purpose. You stop following routines and start creating meaning. You stop existing and start truly living. People are naturally drawn to those who have clarity of purpose. When someone speaks with conviction, when their actions align with their beliefs, and when they stand for something bigger than themselves, others can feel it. It's not about talent, intelligence, or experience, it's about certainty. When you are clear on why you do what you do, you don't have to convince people to follow you. They will naturally gravitate towards you because clarity breeds confidence, and confidence breeds trust. Many businesses and leaders struggle to inspire people because they focus too much on what they offer and how they operate. They try to win customers, employees, or supporters by listing features, qualifications, or benefits. But the most successful leaders, companies, and movements don't start with what they do. They start with why they do it. They communicate a belief, a vision, or a purpose that resonates deeply with others. That clarity creates a connection that facts and figures never could. Think about the leaders who have changed the world. They didn't just have plans, strategies, or expertise. They had an unshakable belief in something bigger than themselves. They were clear on their why, and that clarity gave people a reason to believe in them. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't just talk about civil rights. He painted a vision of what the world could be. Steve Jobs didn't just sell computers. He inspired people to think differently. The Wright brothers didn't just build planes, they pursued a dream that defied the impossible. Clarity of purpose makes people unstoppable. When you know your why, obstacles don't discourage you, they energize you. Setbacks don't make you quit, they push you to find another way forward. That's because purpose creates resilience. When your why is clear, failure isn't the end, it's just part of the journey. This applies to individuals just as much as it does to businesses and leaders. The people who achieve the greatest fulfillment in life aren't the ones who simply follow the path laid out for them. They are the ones who take the time to understand why they do what they do. They don't just chase promotions, money, or recognition, they chase meaning. And meaning only comes when you have clarity about what truly matters to you. People who lack this clarity often feel stuck. They work hard, but something always feels missing. They make progress, but they don't feel fulfilled. That's because they are focusing on the what instead of the why. They are looking for motivation in the wrong places, external rewards, validation, or comparison. When the real fuel comes from within, when you start with why, work becomes more than just a job. Leadership becomes more than just authority. Success becomes more than just numbers. Every decision, every action, and every goal gains meaning because it aligns with something deeper. And when you have that kind of clarity, you don't have to push yourself forward, your purpose pulls you forward. People see it, feel it, and are inspired by it. Many people spend their lives chasing success, believing that once they reach a certain milestone, they will finally feel fulfilled. They think that once they earn more money, get a promotion, or receive recognition, they will be happy. But time and time again, people who achieve these things still feel like something is missing. That's because true fulfillment doesn't come from external rewards, It comes from having a deeper purpose behind what you do. Success without meaning is empty. It's why so many high achievers feel lost even after they accomplish everything they set out to do. They climbed the ladder, but when they reached the top, they realized it was leaning against the wrong wall. The difference between people who feel truly fulfilled and those who don't isn't how much money they make or how high they climb. It's whether they have a clear sense of why they're doing it in the first place. When you start with why, success is no longer just about numbers, status, or recognition. It becomes about the impact you create, the people you help, and the legacy you leave behind. Purpose-driven success is different because it gives meaning to the hard work, the long hours, and the sacrifices. It ensures that no matter how difficult things get, you stay committed because you know you are working towards something that truly matters. The most successful people and companies in the world understand this. The ones who last, who make a difference, who inspire others, these are the ones who operate with purpose. They don't just try to sell a product or climb a corporate ladder. They have a cause, a mission, a belief that drives them. This is why some companies build loyal followings while others struggle to retain customers. It's why some leaders inspire trust while others have to rely on authority. People are drawn to those who stand for something bigger than themselves. Without a strong why, success feels like a moving target. No matter how much you achieve, it never feels like enough. You might experience brief moments of satisfaction, but they quickly fade as you start chasing the next goal. But when your success is rooted in purpose, every achievement feels meaningful. Every milestone is a step towards something bigger. Every challenge is an opportunity to grow, not just a hurdle to overcome. This is the difference between those who burn out and those who stay passionate. People who chase external rewards eventually run out of energy because their motivation is tied to things outside their control. But those who are driven by purpose don't need constant motivation. Their why fuels them even when things get hard. It keeps them going when others quit. It allows them to push forward not because they have to, but because they want to. Real success isn't about how much you accumulate, it's about how much you contribute. It's not about what you get, it's about what you give. And when your why is clear, success is no longer something you chase, it's something you create. Finding your why isn't something that happens by accident. It requires deep self-reflection, a willingness to ask difficult questions, and the courage to challenge what you've been told success should look like. Most people never take the time to truly understand their purpose because they're too caught up in the demands of everyday life. They follow the paths laid out for them, meet expectations set by others, and chase goals they never questioned in the first place. But without knowing why you're doing what you do, everything starts to feel like a never-ending cycle of work without meaning. The process of discovering your why starts with looking inward. It's about identifying the things that light a fire inside you, the things that make you feel truly alive. Think about the moments when you felt the most fulfilled. What were you doing? Who were you helping? What impact were you making? The answers to these questions reveal patterns that can guide you toward your deeper purpose. Too often, people measure their purpose based on external validation. They believe their why has to be something grand or world-changing, but that's not true. Your why doesn't have to be about leading a revolution or building a billion-dollar company. It simply has to be something that resonates with you, something that gives your work and life deeper meaning. It could be helping others grow, solving problems, creating art, or even just bringing joy to the people around you. The scale of your impact doesn't matter. What matters is that it's meaningful to you. One of the biggest obstacles to finding your why is fear. Fear of making the wrong choice, fear of judgment, fear of stepping outside of what feels safe. It's easier to follow a well-worn path than to carve out your own. But real fulfillment only comes when you align your actions with what truly matters to you, not what others expect from you. That means being honest with yourself about what excites you, what challenges you, and what gives you a sense of purpose, even if it doesn't fit into a traditional definition of success. Self-reflection isn't always comfortable. It forces you to confront the possibility that you might have been chasing the wrong things. It makes you question whether you're truly living the life you want or just following a script written by someone else. But without that level of honesty, it's impossible to find clarity. And without clarity, it's impossible to find lasting fulfillment. The key is to give yourself the space to explore. Take time to reflect, to experiment, to pay attention to what energizes you versus what drains you. Your why isn't something you create. It's something you uncover. It's already there, waiting for you to recognize it. But it takes courage to listen to yourself, to trust what you find, and to take steps in a direction that aligns with your deeper sense of purpose. Because once you find it, everything else starts to make sense. People don't follow those who have the best resumes or the most impressive credentials. They follow those who inspire them. They follow people who believe in something, who stand for something, and who act with purpose. When you start with why, you don't just change your own life, you have the power to influence and inspire those around you. Inspiration is not about manipulation or persuasion. It's not about convincing people to support you, buy from you, or follow you. It's about making them feel something. People are drawn to those who have a clear sense of purpose because purpose creates energy, and energy is contagious. When someone speaks with conviction, when their actions align with their beliefs, it resonates in a way that logic and reason alone never could. Think about the people who have made the biggest impact in your life, the ones who left a lasting impression, who motivated you to become better, who made you believe in something greater. Chances are they weren't just knowledgeable or skilled, they had something deeper, a clear why that guided everything they did. Their passion, their belief, their sense of purpose was so strong that it inspired you to see things differently. That's the power of starting with why. This is why great leaders don't need to demand loyalty. It's given freely. They don't need to convince people to work hard. People are naturally motivated when they believe in the cause. When you start with why, you attract people who share your vision, people who want to be part of something meaningful. Customers don't just buy products, they buy into beliefs. Employees don't just work for a paycheck, they work for a mission. Friends, family, and colleagues aren't just around you, they are inspired by you. The mistake many people make is thinking that leadership is about authority. That inspiration comes from power. But the truth is, people don't follow titles, they follow purpose. They don't commit to companies, they commit to causes. And they don't stay loyal because of contracts, they stay because they believe in what you stand for. When you have a strong why, it changes the way you communicate. You no longer need to sell people on ideas, they naturally connect with them. You no longer need to push people to work harder, they willingly go the extra mile. You no longer need to seek validation, because when you act with purpose, people see it for themselves. This applies to every aspect of life, not just leadership or business. When you live with purpose, your relationships become stronger. Your work becomes more fulfilling. Your decisions become clearer. You stop chasing approval and start building connections that matter. The best part is that you don't need to be famous, powerful, or wealthy to inspire others. You just need to be clear on your why and live it consistently. Because when you do, people will notice, they will feel it, and they will be drawn to it. Not because they have to be, but because they want to be. Everything changes when you start with why. Your work, your relationships, your goals, everything gains new meaning when it's rooted in a deeper purpose. The difference between those who merely exist and those who truly thrive isn't intelligence, talent, or luck. It's clarity. Clarity of purpose, clarity of vision, and clarity of belief. When you understand why you do what you do, every action has direction, every challenge has meaning, and every success feels truly fulfilling. Most people drift through life reacting to circumstances, chasing goals that society tells them to value, and wondering why they still feel empty after achieving them. They live by default instead of by design. But those who start with why don't get lost in the distractions of the world. They don't waste time chasing things that don't align with their purpose. They don't measure success by how much they accumulate, but by how much they contribute. And because of that, they experience a deeper sense of joy, fulfillment, and resilience. When you know your why, obstacles don't break you, they refine you. Setbacks don't discourage you, they strengthen your commitment. You stop seeing failure as an endpoint and start seeing it as a stepping stone. That's because your purpose is bigger than any single challenge. And when you have that kind of clarity, no amount of struggle can shake your belief in what you're doing. The greatest leaders, innovators, and change makers in history weren't necessarily the smartest or the most experienced. What set them apart was their unwavering belief in something bigger than themselves. They didn't let doubt stop them. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't get lost in the noise of opinions and expectations. They simply followed their why, and in doing so, they inspired others to do the same. But starting with why isn't just about leadership or business. It's about life. It's about how you wake up in the morning, how you approach your work, how you connect with people, and how you shape the world around you. When you operate with purpose, you create a ripple effect. Your passion influences others, your belief sparks inspiration, and your actions set an example. And when you inspire others, the impact multiplies far beyond what you can see. This isn't about having everything figured out. It's not about having a perfect plan or knowing every step of the journey before you take the first one. It's simply about making the choice to live with intention, to stop drifting, to stop settling, to stop chasing things that don't truly matter to you. Finding your why isn't a one-time event. It's a lifelong process. It's something you refine, clarify, and deepen as you grow. But once you start, you'll never go back to living on autopilot. You'll never again feel like you're just going through the motions, because when you have purpose, everything you do matters. Every effort, every challenge, every success, it all becomes part of something bigger. The question is no longer whether you can change your life. The question is whether you're ready to start with why.